Let's begin today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we record today, the Turrbal and Yagara people, and pay our respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. I'm Laurie from Troocoo Executive Search, and I'm excited today to be joined by Andrew Stark, Global Managing Director at Flight Centre. Our conversation will take a closer look at the person beyond the title and explore experiences, perspectives, and motivations that have shaped his leadership journey. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you, Laurie. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Andrew or Starkey, what do you prefer?
We've met a few times, so I think Starkey's good. Thanks.
Okay, cool. So do you want to start maybe just giving a quick intro of, where you've come from? Obviously, you're from South Africa. So, yeah, it'd be good to kind of start there.
Humble beginnings. Grew up in Joburg. Had a passion for sports and schools and everything else, and decided at some point in time to get into travel. My mom was in travel for many, many years. So the seed was planted at a very young age, to be honest. And so the story begins.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And what was your very first job, Starkey, and what has it taught you today?
Yeah, my first job was actually a traditional travel agent at a company called Parkmore Travel in Parktown in Sandton. And I got the job actually through my mum. So, finished studying travel and tourism and obviously started to look for a job. And my mom phoned up her ex-boss, Cheryl Werner, and said, "Hey, Cheryl, do you have a vacancy for my son?" And that's where, that was way back then. And that's where my journey began. Did I say I loved being a travel agent? No, I didn't actually love being a travel agent. And my career progressed into other things, which we can talk about a little bit later.
Awesome. Thank you. What is a pivotal moment from your career that's led you down the path to where you are today? And what have you learned from it? I know a bit of a big question there.
My first leadership role at a very young age of 24. Looking as national sales manager of a company called World Leisure Holidays. I look back on my career so far, and I think 24 is a very young age to be leading salespeople, and generally a lot older than you as well. And if I think how I led in that sort of first 5 to 10 year period of leadership, it wasn't true leadership. What was pivotal is I can actually go back to that and go, no matter if you're 24, 34, or 44, and it's your first leadership gig, it's difficult. And there's lots of things you need to take into consideration. But why I believe it's pivotal is that experience is what makes you a great leader today. I think it is about someone giving you an opportunity. At 24, someone did, saw something in me. And I think I was second best at the time. At the time, Sharon Simpson should have got the job, but she didn't want to move up to Joburg. And I was second best and I got given the role, but I took that opportunity in both hands. So someone saw something in you, given you an opportunity, and then obviously the rest is then just gaining that experience, getting runs on the board and learning from your mistakes. But very pivotal at a very young age. And I'm thankful today. I'm 47 and I've been in, leadership ever since.
What would you say is one of your biggest challenges you've faced in your career, and how did it prepare you for the role you're in now?
Can we talk about COVID? I mean, that was a challenge.
Absolutely. Let's go there.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, it probably has to be one of the biggest challenges we faced as a leadership group or even as an industry. But that was life-changing. A mantra I used at the time was during the pandemic, you had to throw the rule book out the window. There was no such thing as the rule book. So I think with regards to agile leadership, the type of leader you are today, it's all about agility. It's all about reading the situation that's in front of you. Yes, textbooks. Yes, theory. Yes, learnings help you. But then there's a thing called gut feel, entrepreneurial spirit that obviously makes you make those decisions today.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you. Now, what drew you to Flight Centre? I know this was many years ago. And what's kept you there for so long? How long has it been now?
Today, 21 years with Flight Centre.
Wow.
So it's been an incredible journey. But what drew me most definitely would be the people of Flight Centre. I remember when sitting down, as we call it, novices, when you start off in Flight Centre. I was a novice BDM, New Business Development Manager. And I sat down in a novice training room, and Shane Flynn was the MD of South Africa at the time. And he stood up there giving his novice intro talk. And I sat there, and after 30 minutes, I said to myself, I wonder if I could be the MD of Flight Centre South Africa one day. That's when the seed was planted. And, 2015, I realized their dream and I became the MD of South Africa and then on to the MD of South Africa and Middle East. And then moved here in Jan of 2022 as global MD. So it's been a great progression. But what I loved about what about Flight Centre, their leaders of Flight Centre have always been inspirational. The people of Flight Centre, I've always culturally connected to them. I think the culture resonates well with me. There is people are given a chance. We promote from within. Yep. It's a competitive environment. What reward and recognition comes as well. What gets rewarded gets done. We believe in, the culture resonates very well with me, and it's probably built my own culture in my home as well. With my family of 3 young kids and who we are today. So it's incredible. I think I'm very lucky. My sister, lives in Germany and works for another organization. She always, whenever we get together over Christmas periods, she always said to me, "You're so lucky. You're so lucky. You found a company that you really love and they really love you."
Yeah. And not many people get that, right? Not everyone gets to experience that in their life.
No, they don't.
So yeah, I like to say blessed rather than lucky.
Yeah.
But it is, I think a player makes their own luck, right? It's hard work.
Yeah. But I think with luck, I think there is a fair amount of luck. The example with Sharon Simpson not getting the job and me getting the job, I was in the right position at the right time.
Yeah.
So that's a fair amount of luck. And
yes.
And one of many leaders has said to me before, make sure that you're in the game. So make sure that you're in the game as you're an A player, because if you're an A player, your name's at the table. Making sure that you're always on top of your game, because you never know when opportunity comes your way, particularly leadership roles.
Yep.
You always go, I'm not ready. And 99% of the time, we are never ready in the leadership role that we're going to.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel like taking that first leadership role and never not being ready, it's almost like being a new parent. No one's ever 100% ready. You're learning on the job, right? Those first few years, you kind of going as you're making it up as you go.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like that too, I feel.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I say to my kids. Raising kids is a leadership journey, because they're aspiring to be like you, hopefully one day.
Yep.
We keep saying to them as well, Mom and Dad are learning. We're in a learning cycle. We've never had a 13-year-old. We've never had a 10-year-old. Never had a 9-year-old. And we're learning. And it's okay sometimes to get things wrong. And we apologize. So it's no different in leadership as well.
Yep, 100%. I love this question. What habits, routines, or philosophies keep you grounded and performing at your best?
I'm an early riser, so I'm up early, natural body clock. I'll do first thing, glass of water, cup of black coffee, a few emails or something that's motivational that I want to read for 15 minutes. Trainers on, out for a run as much as I can. I try to do about 30 kilometers a week.
Wow.
And then I get back and that's when my day is ready. I'm ready to start my day. My team knows they'll get a fair amount of communication from me in the early hours of the morning, but by 9 o'clock that's done and everyone gets on with their day. I generally say to my team, you want the best out of me, it's before 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
After that, I generally don't make decisions in the afternoon, and I'll probably reflect on them and make a decision the following day if I need to. I think also with experience, I realize you don't have to make the decision instantaneously.
Yes.
And within a day or two you can sleep on it for a number of days. That ethos works really well for me. I'm also a work hard, play hard person as well. Like I love strong, I work hard, I play hard as well, and I think that balance is certainly important. Good that I've got a partner in Kirst that is the same, and I think we balance each other in that way. But I think it's important because we're in these pressurized jobs that we're all in. You've got to have time for relaxation. You've got to have time to get away. And I have no problem when I am on leave, particularly now where you've got great people around you doing great things, is to actually switch off. And a lot of people always ask me, Starkey, you're away for 2 weeks and we do a family holiday every December, January, generally 4 weeks, and I'm off, as in off, turn off. No email, no text, completely disconnect.
Yeah,
and people ask, how do you do that? Well, because I've got a great team around me. And
that you trust.
And I absolutely trust. But obviously that comes with experience as well.
Yes.
That young 24-year-old would never have done that.
No.
Wanted to control the narrative, wanted to control everything. But you certainly don't have to. So I think, and I think if you demonstrate that, your people see that, and they probably, sort of mimic a lot of what you do as well.
What is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given in your career? And I know we spoke about this earlier. You may have a few that you want to talk about, and would love to hear your thoughts on this, Starkey.
So in the coffee catch up when we had that question, I loved. And as you finished that question, I actually, if you mind, I've actually written a few things down. Great. Because as I started, I need to move this here, but as I started, I wrote a few down. I thought, I'm happy to share this with you. But so over my career, I've had 14 exceptional leaders, and every single one of them have given me one piece of advice. So if you mind, can I share?
I would love to hear all of them, please.
So Bruce Hutchinson, he always said an advert is an invitation to do business. I didn't quite understand, but we're very much a sales and marketing machine. And if you look at a lot of advertising today, it's ultra complicated. And his mantra was about ultra simplicity. You don't have to put your terms and conditions onto an ad in order to get the phones to ring. That stuck with me. Sean Hoff, you are always on a pedestal. People will remember every word you say as a leader. So again, you're always on stage. Powerful. Jackie Turnbull, sales and finance will never agree. That's okay.
That's okay. How true.
Oh, so true. Dale White, take people on a journey. Sue Garrett, make sure you're always creating a following. So I think that's been really good. And we talk about humility and being humble and having that, because there's sometimes what's the word I'm looking for? I'm stumbling here. There is if you think you're better than the game, there's if we say titles, you've got a great title and you think you
are more important than someone else.
Yeah, more important than someone else. Like there's bravado, having a leadership title.
Yes.
It's making sure that people won't follow those types of people. They're going to be following people that create a following. And you as a leader, I'm always going to say, how am I creating a following? Yes. Well, these people, if asked, will they follow me, is always powerful.
Yes.
Janine Salami, always ask for feedback as a leader and be prepared for the honest feedback.
Yep.
Chris Galanti, how long do you want to be in the role for? ? And there's a story behind that, because my first MD role, we sat down in a one-on-one and he said, so what's happening? And I had this laundry list of actions. Obviously, I'm energized, my new MD role.
Yeah.
And I saw Atlee off, and I was probably that 20-minute conversation with him, and he sat back and he said, how long do you want to be in the role for? I was a bit confused by the question. And he said, if you do all of that, you won't be in a job in 6 months' time. And again, what it made me take in is that every plan has got a 3 to 5 year lifespan or journey. And businesses are nothing's a quick fix. No. You can't boil the ocean.
Yes.
And I think as a new leader that's hungry, wants to inspire, impress, you want to do everything.
Yes.
But you don't think it through properly. So that gave me a lot of insights. Mel Waters-Ryan, near enough is good enough. I always love that about her. And keep things simple, Starkey. Keep things simple, Starkey.
Yeah.
James Kavanagh, choice, not chance. It's your choice. It's not by chance. So make the right decisions.
Love that.
And then Graham Turner, otherwise known as Screw, who's very well known, as I made mention. I'm going to swear a little bit here because he's well known for that, but his famous one is whenever you get given a promotion or you're rolling out something, you'll say, just don't fuck it up. That's it. And everyone has a good laugh, but you know the seriousness behind it. Just don't fuck it up.
Yeah, truth and jest.
And the other one he says always is, everyone does their own shit work around here. So, there's no one that's more important than everyone else. There's a flat structure that works. And then mine, for me, that it comes to mind all the time, is culture eats strategy for breakfast. I absolutely love that. I used that at a conference recently in Sydney. I've read that from a number of books. Keep things simple. People complicate business. So our job as leaders is to keep things ultra simple. And then the final one for me, Rebecca, is give back. Make sure as a leader, and wherever you are in your career, there'll come a time where you got to start giving back, and that's giving back in your local communities, giving back on sort of social work that you do, but make sure that you, at a point in time, whether it's an age thing or whether it's where you're in your career, but you start giving back, because I think
It's important.
it makes you feel good, but it makes other people feel good. And if you've got a profile, you just elevate and you raise awareness around something that's really special to you.
Yeah. How would you describe your leadership philosophy, and how does it influence the culture of Flight Centre? There's a big sigh.
So I reckon I've always said there's sort of two types of leadership philosophies: transactional and transformational. And I think there's moments in time where you'll need a transactional leader to come in.
Yep.
And then there's a time for the transactional leader to exit, and then you need a transformation leader to come in as well. And many examples of that through world politics, sporting teams, you name it. I think I'm probably more that transformational leader. I feel like it's the roles I've always been in. I've come in and been transformational in the thinking and transformational in building and growing. So I think that's probably where my sweet spot is. However, you need to sometimes become transactional. So I know there's a couple of books out that says, can you be both? The question is out whether you can be. I think you can, but you will tend to be more of a transformational, transactional leader. But I think today, and I mentioned it early on, I think there's situational leadership as well. And we're living in a world today where it's traveling at such a rapid rate. Change is rapid. It's always a constant. You sighing at that question because you see it in the recruitment business. We're seeing it everywhere. And, an interview wouldn't be complete without using the word AI, and AI is changing that game for us. It's changing everything. I think that agility, situational leadership is probably more front of mind today, and more the sort of leader that a lot of businesses are looking for.
Thank you. Okay, let's get on to rugby. We love this topic. Given your partnership with the Wallabies, which aspect of a rugby captain's leadership do you believe are most transferable to executive and boardroom environments?
Three captains that I really sort of look up to: John Eales, Richie McCaw, and Sia Khaleesi. The humility of those people. I think, I've met Richie, I've met Sia, and I've met, much personal, far closer relationship with Ealesy. The humility is incredible. And I think that's what leadership globally has lost. Humility, which needs to come back very, very quickly. But in the business world, that's very important. So I think that's a nice segue for both. I also think with both those three that I made mention is they're great listeners. So with listening, their experience is built. And we spoke about experience early on as well. As a new leader, Sia was, deer in the headlights, as we say. And you notice with his experience, he's now a 2 World Cup winning captain. So is Richie McCaw. Ealesy had 1. We hoped he'd had more. But that experience over time made them better leaders, made them ask the right questions, and made them listen more. And we'll know that about leadership. Great leaders listen more than they talk.
Thank you. Okay, let's go on to curiosity. What are you most curious about right now?
Other than how to parent 3 young kids. The one obviously is AI. That's keeping a lot of us up and curious and interested. And it's changing at a rapid rate. I think everyone's, dare I say, scrambling to understand what it's going to deliver. I think we're all understanding there's this productivity gain at play, but then there's also this other play where the bot or the agentic AI does a lot more. And I think there's a fear factor there as well. And what does that mean? We're very much a people business. We're very much, we've got shops, we've got networks, we've got specialist teams. There's a balance there as well. We've certainly used AI from a productivity perspective, and there's a lot more work. But I think that's going to move rapidly. And I think we're all, as executives, trying to, what does it actually all mean, and where do you invest next?
Yes.
Because there's so many things popping up into where do you invest.
Okay. Which book, movie, or podcast has inspired you the most lately, and why?
Book. I've been reading Family Village Tribe again, which is the book written about Flight Centre, which is about our structure and as we structure as an organization. There is a new book that will be out early 2026 about Flight Centre, and predominantly talking through how we survived the pandemic.
Wow.
Which
Who
will be
wrote
interesting.
that?
Mandy Johnson is the
Okay.
author.
Okay.
So we can maybe get her onto one of your next
Yes.
podcasts. So yeah, book-wise, I've also just finished the Rassi Erasmus book, his
Okay.
autobiography.
Thoughts?
Incredible. Comes from humble beginnings. How do you create a following? That's a man that's created a following. How do you bring people together from all walks of life and create something special? We talk about South Africa being the Rainbow Nation, but just their rugby team, particularly with transformation. A lot of people put the Springboks on the other side of the scale and look at it today, embracing transformation, bringing people together, all walks of life. You're talking about people that, players that have just, didn't have boots until they were 18 and now on the world stage. Like, he is an incredible leader, bringing people together. So I've absolutely loved that. And whether you're a rugby fan or not, there's a lot of lessons in that book as well.
If your career had a soundtrack, what songs would be dead certain to feature on it?
Career, I'll probably go my journey, 47-year-old journey so far. I'd probably say REM.
Yeah.
Certainly
Good
growing
choice.
up in the 70s, 80s. Bryan Adams then in the 90s. And then probably now, who I don't think they'll ever get old, is Coldplay. We went to the Coldplay concert. We absolutely love it. And they're always reinventing themselves, aren't they? So,
they do very well staying current.
yes.
But REM, Bryan Adams, great choices.
Yeah.
It takes me back to my younger days. Okay, finally, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times. Where's the one place you always recommend people should visit on a Flight Centre package deal, of course? Favorite holiday destination? I mean, it's probably really hard to narrow it down, but maybe top 3.
Oh, top 3. I'd go one for now. My number one has got to be Italy. I just love the culture. I love the pace of life there. I love Rome as a city.
Yep.
I love Tuscany as a region as well. Not because I proposed to Kirsten Tuscany, but Rome just is that balance of new world and old. The fact that there are still archaeologists sifting through, sort of artifacts, and then the food, you're walking down the streets of cobblestone and you can veer off to this traditional Italian mama restaurant. It's just got everything, and the chaos in the way they drive, and just they're vibrant and they're unapologetic on who they are.
Very passionate.
Very passionate, kept to their culture. They've got longevity. They live to a very old age in their little villages, and they live off the land. There's lots I love about Italians and Italy, although I don't follow football, which is interesting. I probably should. But Italy for me is just an unbelievable place.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Starkey. It was great to hear some of the lessons learned and advice that's helped shape your career.
Awesome. Thanks, Laurie. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for watching. Look out for our next episode, where we'll be sitting down with another C-suite executive to talk about the story behind their career and share insights into what shapes them beyond the title.